If you're getting anything online, no one is bothered there. It's just online cover. Okay, it's $29. I've got 500,000 of trauma. I've got 1 million of life, and it's $29 fortnight. So it's cheap. It looks good, but it's a bloody lie. Lies always look good, and truth always looks bitter. But truth is always truth.
We have a secret podcast, never to be seen by anyone. It's disappeared into the ether, but we won't mention it. Okay, what's the dream? What are you going to do in insurance? Are you going to build an empire? Are you going to take over? Are you going to save all the people from where you're from? What's your plan?
So, 11 years back when I migrated from Fiji, obviously, I did not know what insurance was, right? Until unless I was not introduced, actually, one of the guys came to my place in 2014. But by that time, it was too late. I already had type 2 diabetes, and I was not given this trauma cover because my diabetes was not managed. And he spoke me through insurance and why it was important to get insurance, and he actually educated me and my husband about insurance, and that's when we decided to take some insurance for us. Unfortunately, my mother-in-law did not have insurance that time, and she passed away last year without any insurance. Yes, and that's when I came to know. And then after that, in 2017, when I was actually out of job after my surgery, I met Shakil, and then Shakil said, "Why don't you become an advisor?" And I said, "Okay, I'll become an advisor." So while actually on the journey of becoming an advisor, while getting educated about how important it was, I thought, okay, I'll go and try and give advice and educate people of my community, especially who are from Fiji, because they think, for their mind perspective, the insurance is like money back. It's like a money tree. In Fiji, what we have life insurance, but after certain years it matures and it pays you back. But in New Zealand, just because of anti-money laundering, we have got legislation here, and we don't do all those things because life insurance is for life insurance. You pay and then you're covered, and when you pass away, you leave a legacy for your family and for your loved ones. And for trauma, no one knew what trauma was here. Even I wasn't aware 11 years back what trauma insurance was. And while becoming an advisor and while getting educated, I knew how important it was. So life insurance is there, but it's not for yourself. It's for your family and for your loved one, and you're leaving a legacy behind. But trauma is very important for you in today's world, especially in New Zealand. There's a lot of different kind of sicknesses that are arising nowadays. Premature deaths and everything is happening. I think that's the most important thing you should have. And in today's time, now we are having a lot of unemployment and stuff, and I think people should think about getting income protection as well.
You turned into a
So
politician. So you had diabetes? Did you say you had type 2 diabetes? Is that what you said?
yes, I have.
What is that?
Yes, yes.
Is it the sugar one, or is it the one where if you don't have insulin, or which one
So
is
it's
it?
a sugar one. Both insulin and type 2 is diabetes. Why it is categorized type 1 and type 2? So type 1 is basically, it's not no longer managed, and your body cannot produce any more insulin, so you have to have injections, right? And if you don't take it, either if it goes very low, you can die. And if it goes very high, you can end up in the hospital. Type 2 is basically managed. It's a lifestyle, and it can be reversed as well. So basically, it's through your food, through your dietary, and through your exercise and everything. So type 2. My diabetes, I got it through gestational when I was pregnant with my daughter. That is 14 years ago. And yeah, it started then. And then I was in Fiji for about 2 years after my daughter was born. And then I came to New Zealand. And then when I was doing my immigration blood test, that's when I found out that I'm actually diabetic.
You got diabetes
So
from a baby, or you were just eating lots of candy when you had the baby? Well, what do you mean gestational?
I eat lots of candies. I used to eat a lot of cream biscuits when I was pregnant with my.
Ah, okay. Wow. Then, like, because I used to rub feet of old people and they had diabetes and big swollen lymph node legs and stuff, and they talk about how they're more risk of like stroke and stuff like that. Like, what have you sort of learned? Like, because every time I call someone I'm like, oh, so have you got any sort of health things? And like, oh yeah, I've got diabetes, but it's under control. I'm like, but like, isn't it a really serious thing? Like, what have you learned about it now that you've been diagnosed with it?
One thing I've learned about it that I can't eat my favorite candies now. But it's not that. Yeah, I have to watch my diet. I have to watch my exercise, and like stress is. People say that it is caused by sugar, but my GP has told me it's not. It is mostly related to stress, and the stress. When you are stressed, there is a hormone that's released in our body. It's called adrenaline, something very hard to pronounce. So actually, that leads to high sugar in the blood, and which actually spikes our sugar level in our blood. So I think doing exercise, and controlling and taking lack of carbohydrates actually should be able to manage that if you're on type 2. But yeah, type 1 is like you are gone out of control. There is basically your pancreas has stopped producing insulin.
Interesting.
But yeah, I haven't felt any other symptoms apart from yeah. Once what happened is I had low sugar. I felt a bit dizzy, but then I started managing it. I started checking my blood sugar levels every morning and every afternoon to see if I'm not going very low. I'm eating carbohydrates, but they're portions, mostly green veggies and meat, but not red meat. I try to avoid red meat as much as I can. So yeah,
Are you trying not to eat red meat?
I'm trying to avoid as much as, because that also yeah, leads there, because it's not helpful for diabetic person.
Is it? Wow, that's crazy because I went down a rabbit hole. So I eat just red meat and fruit pretty much, and I lost
Yeah.
like 20 kilos. But it's like,
Wow.
I don't know. So red meat's vilified because it's got it's high, like people worry about cholesterol, LDL.
Mm,
And I don't know. I don't know if I'm sold on it because, like they say it in insurance, like if you got high cholesterol, your premium's going to be higher and stuff like that. But someone used the analogy of what if cholesterol isn't the problem? Cholesterol is the fireman that shows up when there is a problem. So, like if your body is inflamed,
mm-hmm,
so like if you're sick from eating bad food, and or you're inflamed from eating things that aren't good for you, and cholesterol is going there to try and repair because it's naturally something the body needs and it's an essential
mm-hmm.
part of the body. I don't know. How can, if we're hunter and gatherers that have been eating meat for our whole lives and now it's bad? Why we're not going to go down the health route? We could, as I say, you're not a doctor or anything, but what have you been surprised about with diabetes? Like, have you? We'll move off it, but like, have you been surprised about like the lack of information, the inconsistent information, the how it impacts your life? What have you learned from it?
To be honest, for past 14 years, I type 2 diabetic. It hasn't much impacted me. Like it does impact other people's, depending on how they are looking after themselves. For me, it is like it has been there. I take medications. I don't take metformin because it's not good for me. I get side effects, a lot of side effects with it. So basically, I'm on the new ones currently, and they are really helpful. I've lost a lot of weight by taking those medication, and which I'm happy about without any exercise.
No way, but like, what is the point of those meds? Is it just to lose weight, or is it to reduce your sugar levels or something? What's the point of the?
No, it reduces my sugar level as well. So increases the insulin in my body, and reduces the sugar level currently, and also helps in my weight loss.
Uh,
Because there was one point last year when I was doing my level 5, so I was pretty much stressed about submitting assignments on time and getting results and stuff. So that time my GP was really upset with me, and he was like, "Oh my god!" He was banging the table when I went to see him. He said, "Ananya, what are you doing? You are just like 37 years old, not 87 years old. Look at your sugar." And then I told him I was studying, and he said, "Well, you really need to take care of yourself. You don't need to stress yourself. Look at you. You are such a short woman, and you have got like my sugar was really, really spiking high that time. But now I've controlled it. I'm on new medications. And one more thing, if you are thyroid, you have got thyroid issue, that also leads to a spike in sugar. So I've got thyroid. It's genetic in our family, so it runs in our family from my mom's side of family. So I got that as a genetic gift.
Yeah, what is that? Because everyone says they're like, I can't lose weight because I got a thyroid problem. I'm always like, what is a thyroid, and what does it do? Like, and yeah, we're just like analyzing your health through this whole podcast. Really, you're an open book, apparently.
So I'm under thyroid, and that makes me like, if I'm not on medication, that makes me feel very lethargic, very lazy. I won't feel like doing anything, and it also if you are under thyroid, it also like changes your hormones, your moods as well. You'll get frustrated, you'll get angry, and all those things. So I've been through that. I've been through that because once I missed my tablet, I was like really annoyed, and I had very bad headaches. I was feeling very lethargic. I didn't feel like, I felt that there was no energy. I felt like not doing anything, just to sleep and lie down. And yeah. So thyroid malfunction it's not good for your health actually. And if you are under thyroid, basically it will actually, yeah, leave you to put on body weight, and which I had. After I've been put on this new diabetes medicine, it's called Jardians. It has helped me a lot to maintain my weight, and I have lost a lot of weight. Before I was 67, now I'm 57, so I lost 10 kilos after started when I started taking this medication. So yeah, I'm very happy, and it doesn't contribute to my weight gain, obviously, but yeah. And my thyroxine tablets have been increased, because when a woman reaches 35 plus, there are other health issues that comes with them. So we obviously started to go near to menopause and stuff, with heavy bleeding and all those things. So you lose a lot of blood, and then you become anemic. So that leads to thyroids as well. So yeah, thyroid malfunction and all those things. So yeah. So basically, women, when they start 35, 36, 37 plus, they really need to look after. They really need to watch their health.
Interesting. And the clicking you're doing is, does the light turn off on the computer? Or are you getting a whole lot of emails? Why? You're just clicking or just
I'm
before?
getting the light from my computer because I've got two screens.
So you're trying to talk while clicking. Okay, all right, all good. So, well, it might be useful to a lot of people that don't know they have a thyroid problem and they feel lethargic. What sort of triggered you checking on it? Like, how did you identify it? What was your symptoms to look for?
So I was feeling very lightheaded. I was very much lack of energy, and I was very frustrated and annoyed. So I went to my GP and I told them, because I knew that I had diabetes. My GP did my blood test, and they found out that I'm under thyroid.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, there's one hyper and there's hypo. So I'm hypo.
Okay. And do you like, so now you can do push-ups and everything and run 10K because you got your medications and you don't feel lethargic now? Or what happened after you take the meds?
So when you take the meds, you feel normal. You feel like doing all the things as I was before. Like when I was a teenager or in my 20s, I had a lot of energy. Now I have got the same thing. So I can cook. I can do housework till 11 p.m., which I usually do.
Wow, that's insane. Wow, okay. Well, I don't know.
Uh,
I'm always torn. It's like you take these drugs and what's the long term implications of it and how do they coexist together? But then also some people need it, like it's essential. But I'm always curious about like when I stopped eating things that weren't good for me. Like I still do. I still go to McDonald's and stuff and be complacent. But it was really hard to go in the supermarket and find something that didn't poison me.
mm-hmm,
Like I try to buy frozen chicken and it's just
mm-hmm.
chicken. And I looked at the ingredients and it said 80% chicken, 89% chicken.
So what about 19%? I
Yeah,
mean,
the 11%. Yeah, it was multi-dextrin or something, some sort of flavoring and preserving.
so 12% was preservatives. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like, and maybe some water in there, I guess, as well. But it was just, it's kind of scary. And I wonder how much of people's health is impacted by diet and and how financially unrewarding it is to work out good nutrition. Like, there's no pharmaceuticals funding research. And then what even is good nutrition? Because everyone says different things. But what about from an insurance standpoint? What can someone with diabetes get? Just life insurance?
Okay, just taking you into a scenario, I'm not going to take a name of this person, and I have recently done an application. This lady, she never had insurance, and I went to see her, and it was pretty much said. She's short like me in height, but she's quite built,
Built. Is
and I
that a
know,
nice way to say it?
yeah, because I think that actually got her when she got diabetes, and I think she's on thyroids as well. But when we checked her medical records, she didn't have thyroids. But yeah, when on diabetes, she's quite built, and her HB1AC was really, really high. So she was not given a trauma. But her life insurance was loaded 375%, which was like times four the premium.
What was
Yeah,
high?
time,
HPC or whatever? What was high, did you say?
yeah, that is that's one of the codes we use to classify diabetes.
So,
HB1.
okay. So, like, there's degrees of diabetes. So, like, some people can get it, some people can't, or some people have more loadings, or how does it work with
Yes, so
diabetes?
life insurance you can get it, but with loadings. But trauma is very hard because diabetes is one of the diseases that can lead to heart attack, stroke, kidney failure, and all those things. So diabetes is one of the diseases. Diabetes means dying slowly. So basically, it's killing a person, not like instantly, not in 10 years, but it's slowly killing a person. So it's slowly killing a person in a way. It's affecting all the organs in your body, but slowly. So basically, I am diabetic currently. I'm on medication. So I get my blood test done every 6 and 3 months. I just did it on Saturday. That's yesterday. So basically, my GP will check since I'm on all these medications, and they'll want to check if they are harsh on my organs in my body, because currently I can't see inside my body, right? So they need to check every 6 months. That's what's happening in my body. So last 6 months ago, when I did my blood test, they found out that there's nothing wrong. My kidneys are all good. They are 100%. My lungs are working. Only thing was that I'm anemic, so they've added a little bit of iron in my diet and in the tablet. They have increased my thyroid tablets. That's all. So yeah, basically the tablets we're taking, the medication we're taking, there are pros and cons for that. And for that, you have to get your blood test done every 6 months and every 3 months. So basically, this lady whose application I did, and she has been loaded 375%, she must be seeing her GP every 3 months instead of 6 months, because her diabetes is really high. And she's saying that she's managing her diet. She's not taking any sugars, but obviously she's eating roti because she's Indian. So roti has a lot of carbs, and she should be using wholemeal flour, which she said that she is using, but still, even though using wholemeal, carbs is there. Either she has to avoid the carbs completely, or other she needs to start doing some exercises. Unfortunately, she's working in the factory where she does a lot of working. She's doing a lot of standing, and by the time she comes home, she's like lack of energy. She doesn't want to go for other further exercises. So that leads and this contributes as well to her diabetes too. But I think apart from walking, sitting in the office, doing the normal works, we should take up some time for ourselves just to do meditation, yoga, or go for a walk, or go for a little simple exercise for 10 minutes. I think that will help. But yeah,
Interesting. I never seen it associated with stress. So the anemic isn't this low in iron, is it? Is anemic?
anemic is low.
And
Yeah,
then you're saying
yeah.
don't eat red meat that's high in iron. Do they give you any nutritional advice? What did the doctor,
They
you go on
did.
the doctor, they're like, do this? What was their advice? Mediterranean diet? That's probably the common one.
So they asked me to include a lot of green leafy vegetables. So
Okay.
fruit only one portion, because fruit also contains high sugars. And as well as they asked me if I could have lean meat, not red meat.
Oh, they want you to have chicken. And fish.
Yeah, yeah. So fish also contains a lot of iron,
Yeah, okay.
or have fish and stuff. But they have asked me to portion my diet, and if I'm eating rice, I should have only a little bit, and it should be like a parboiled rice. And if I'm eating bread only once a day, one piece, and only wholemeal or other low carbs. So I basically go in the supermarket and look for these low carb breads.
Random. Okay, so
Yes.
so they just think carbs are the enemy, and
Yes.
it's confusing to me. It's like one of the red meat is people have the least reaction to it. Like it's the like if you ever want there's an autoimmune disease like rheumatoid arthritis, for example. And if
Yes.
you want to test what food is your body's reacting to, if you start with red meat and remove everything out of your diet, it's the least reactive substance. Like people don't very rarely have a allergic reaction to it. So I just don't get why the whole human like vilifying of red meat, like it's grass fed, it's healthy, like chickens, maybe there's hormones, maybe the way they're fed, maybe they're in cages, maybe they're stressed. Whereas if you just got a cow eating grass in New Zealand, pretty much all cows are grass fed. That
Yes.
upsets me. Like well, but then what even is the truth? So why do you I think when I was speaking to people with insurance, a lot of the people from the islands or from India seem to have diabetes more often than Caucasians. Do you know like why?
Because Indians don't eat beef.
Because Indians what?
Don't eat beef. They don't eat
Oh,
much of.
because they love cows. Eh?
Yes.
Hindi's it's a god or something. No,
Yeah, it's one of the symbol of
yeah.
goddess. So pray. So there, yes. So there's a long story behind it. I think in India there was a story that there was drought once, and there was no water. So cows actually were there to give milk to suffice the taste, not the taste, thirst of people. And that's how they are not sacrificing the cows. They are not eating their meat because the cows saved them from dying without water.
Okay, but gives them
So yes,
diabetes, so
that's
they
why.
want more water. No, I was kidding.
Yeah.
Sorry. Because okay, so you think they have diabetes because they don't eat red meat? Is that your take, or there's a lot of
No,
sugary
it's not.
foods too?
Yeah, it's not only the red meats. It's mostly the carbohydrates and the stress. Actually, that's what I was saying. My GP has even said stress is one of the biggest things currently, which affects your sugar level.
It's interesting. I wonder, does it
Yes.
make you eat more sugar, or does it bring sugar into your blood because you're in fight or flight?
Yes, so it brings a lot of sugar and it lowers your insulin production. So these the hormones that I said, adrenaline, something. Yeah, it gets more when you are angry, when you are frustrated, or when you are stressed, like you are stressing about something, and so that gets produced more in your body, and that
Cortisol.
what's yeah.
Cortisol. Guess what it's called. Um, you're interesting when you wake up and you get sun. You increase your cortisol and adrenaline production. It wakes you up, and then when you see the sun set, it makes you melatonin. So which starts making
Mm.
you feel sleepy. So cortisol can be quite useful, but a lot of people, they're looking at their phones, they're watching the news, they've got their stressful level 5, they've got a lot going on in their life. I used to like so it's talking to people is quite scary to me, and I'm a bit all over the place with this. So you're doing well. I haven't woken up, I think. And when I try to like stop people, I'd be scared. And I noticed when my sugar levels would drop, I would feel more stressed and more on edge. So if I kept my sugar levels consistent, then I wouldn't feel as nervous. So I wonder, that's interesting. So I'm wondering if the body's pulling the sugar into the blood system because it's like, okay, we need all this energy, this instant energy, because we're under threat. There's a saber-toothed tiger in the form of you getting marked on your level 5s. But anyway, what about Polynesian, like in Fiji and stuff? Like, do they have more diabetes? Surely they like eating beef.
Well, so far, almost all my clients have diabetes who are from Fiji.
Yeah, no, it's insane.
They're somewhere either they are type 1 or either type 2 because of their dietary, because we love our food, right? And in Fiji we have got this lot of root crops. Have you heard about taro and cassava? They are the root crops. They are the main edible root crops in Fiji and one of the national foods as well. So Fijian people, they tend to love their food, and we love our food. And then we include a lot of carbohydrates in our food. And during Diwali, as you must have seen, there's a lot of sweets and stuff. So yeah, there you go. So almost, I think, so far the clients that I've seen in about 2 to 3 months, I think almost all of them have diabetes, and
Wow.
they are all Fijian.
Good
Yes.
premiums though,
Yeah, good premiums though. Good for me.
not for them. So what can they do to prepare themselves? Like, so let's say someone they find out they got diabetes and they want to get some form of insurance. Can they get it under control? Can they only get trauma and life insurance? Can they get income protection? Like, what's possible and how do you go about it? You could be the
So,
diabetes queen of New Zealand.
uh, so if you have got diabetes and it's well managed, you can get trauma, but your trauma will exclude diabetes provision in there.
It excludes it. So you got the slowly dying thing that affects pretty much everything, including your blood, and it's going to exclude it. But if
Yes.
you,
So anything related to this. So if I'm having diabetes, see, till date, to be honest, I'm an advisor and I've been an advisor for about seven. Now this is the eighth year. I've got my own business, but I don't have a trauma cover because my diabetes wasn't managed for all these years. So none of the companies is actually ready to give me diabetes, and I'm under 40 as well and non-managed diabetes. So when I turn 40, I'll obviously go back to the insurance company and request them if they can give me trauma cover. But obviously, I know diabetes will be excluded because my diabetes wasn't managed for all these years. So if you are under 40, my advice here is to manage your diabetes. You might get cover, but your diabetes will be obviously excluded, even if it's on border, even if it's not, you are not on tablet, if you have got, um, there's a word, glucose intolerance, it shows in your blood, right? That means you are heading towards diabetes and it will be excluded. So there's no way you can get cover. Well, if you want to go to these online companies and you say, these companies are offering me diabetes and stuff, they are obviously not underwritten covers, because I have had some clients come to me, your companies haven't provided me trauma cover because my diabetes is too high, but other companies online I'm applying and they are giving me trauma cover. Obviously they are giving you trauma cover because they are not underwriting your policies. Your policies will be underwritten when you are going for claim, and that's when you will find out that you are paying for something which you are not going to get benefit from. So there's a lot of fight from people about this trauma cover, and people who are having diabetes, their diabetes are not managed, and they come back to me and they say, "Oh, these companies haven't provided me. I'm paying so much. My premiums are so high." Because your premiums are so high because you have got diabetes. Come on, you need to understand. Diabetes is one of the um, shall I call it disease or shall I call what? I don't know.
yeah, I mean,
So
I'd call it
diabetes is some.
disease. I'd say it's one of the worst.
Yeah. So yes, so diabetes is one of the things that's making people slowly die. It's slowly impacting your organs. And insurance companies are not made at all, right? They know this person is on high risk. I'm not going to give trauma cover to this person because it's very highly risk and highly claimable. This person is going to claim because sooner or later this person is going to claim, right? So why give them trauma cover if there's this patient's diabetes is not managed? But people come to me, hey, we have tried online companies. They are giving me trauma cover. Yes, they are giving you trauma cover. In the short term, it looks good. But in the long run, when you go to claim, when you are sick, when you need the money, that's when they start underwriting your covers. And that's when they say, oh, you had diabetes so many years back. Now we are not going to pay you the what do you call the claim, the trauma claim, because you had all these things. So that's when that's when people start crying and coming back and looking for advisors. Okay, sorry, we didn't listen to you and all those things. So where were your ears when we were there educating you? This is why it has been excluded. This is why your premiums have been loaded, because you have diabetes. But some people, they have got mentality, oh, I can get trauma cover from an online insurance. There's online insurance that sells online are I'm not advising anyone to get it, to be
Yeah.
honest. People want to save money in the first instant, and they think that they can get trauma cover from this online thingy. They can go ahead and waste their money. But when advisors are there, they're advising them that, okay, this is your problem. You can't get trauma cover because your diabetes is not managed. That's the right advice, and that's a well underwritten policy, and that's the value for money. Because you are putting money into something, you're investing money into something that you will one day get back, right? And you have got an advisor in there who's home during claim time, you will call, right? And that person will do anything for you to get the claim in place. But if you're getting anything online, no one is bothered there. It's just online cover. Okay, it's $29. I've got 500,000 of trauma. I've got 1 million of life, and it's $29 fortnight. So it's cheap. It looks good, but it's a bloody lie. Lies always look good, and truth always looks bitter, but truth is always truth,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah, frick.
Yeah.
So with the online thing, so can you explain underwriting? So my understanding is you get all your medicals checked, you disclose things, you sign up, and then they're like, okay, we agree, as long as everything was accurate here, we'll pay you out. But if they do it online, is it like, okay, it takes 2 months, let's look through all your medicals, let's try and decipher to determine if, you disclosed everything. Like, how does it compare, the online versus an application with an advisor?
So in an application with an advisor, they do fact find. They check your financial backgrounds, whether you are okay with the premiums. Firstly, secondly, they do a thorough medical check. So they'll ask you questions about your health. They'll ask you about your existing health issues, and they'll also ask you about your parents, so about your biological parents and biological brothers and sisters, if they have got. Sometimes your biological parents and biological siblings health does affect your application because there has been a trend, and then it is submitted, the applications are submitted, and then we have got specialized underwriters in different companies who look through your application, and they profile people, high risk, low risk, and depending on the disclosures, right, you have disclosed. And then if needed, they will go and request your medical records, and they will see your medical records for past 10 years. And from there, then they will make decisions. Okay, you have got diabetes, your diabetes wasn't managed well, we are going to load your life, but we will not give you trauma because you are under 40 and you have got high risk of claiming. So obviously the insurance companies don't want to take someone who is very high risk, and the claiming chances of them is very high, right? And who are going to be a burden. So they're obviously going to increase your load your life cover. But if your diabetes is managed, you have managed your diabetes for 5 years, it's all good, even though you're diabetic, right? They'll give you trauma cover, but they will exclude your diabetes. So anything related to diabetes will not be covered.
That's
So
crazy
if
though.
you get a heart attack,
Yeah.
yes. If you get a heart attack and it is just because of diabetes, you'll not get heart attack payment. But if you get a heart attack that's not related to diabetes, they will pay you. And majority of the cases it has happened, they have paid you. So I had a client who wasn't diabetes when I signed this person up, right? As soon as I signed this person up, after 2 years, he was diagnosed with diabetes. But this person wasn't aware, well, this is about the person, right? And this person wasn't aware that his GP has actually advised him that he had diabetes, and this person was not that educated. He's old, he was in his late 50s and stuff, so his eyes, one of the eyes was gone. He completely became blind. So he came to me and he said, I've got a claim because I've got a trauma cover, which is standard trauma cover, right? So I lodged the application. They went back to the GP, and there was in the GP's note that he has actually advised the clients about diabetes, but he hasn't put the client on medication. So there was a GP's fault, right? He advised the client, he said, but he didn't put the client on medication, on any medication whatsoever.
Now he's blind. Okay, sorry.
Yes,
Yep.
that is blind one eye. So I went back, and there was a big communication between me and the insurance company and the clients, and then we got onto Zoom call one day. And the good thing was that because the client said I wasn't given any medication and I wasn't aware that I was diabetic before signing up, right? So it was basically a GP's fault. So then the GP agreed and he said, yeah, it was my fault. I didn't put the client on medication. So what happened here is the client won.
So the
And the
client,
insurance company,
wow, okay. So the client had a heart attack and is blind, or
no,
just blind. Okay.
no, no.
Okay. So they're blind
And
from
the
the
client,
diabetes, but because they didn't get paid they didn't get the meds.
yes.
That's insane. Well, at least he got some
So
money, but God, that doctor.
yes. So the insurance company actually ended up paying him because it wasn't a client fault and it wasn't a non-disclosure from the client. It was the fault of the GP. So we can't actually punish the client just because a GP hasn't put his notes properly, just because a GP hasn't prescribed my client properly, right? It hasn't given the medications on time so that his eyes could have like survived because it's dead now. So yeah,
Right, so wait, 10
there
years
you
ago
go.
he went to see a doctor, or how long ago did the doctor put in their notes?
So the doctor put in the notes, I think, same time, but he did not prescribe the medication. He said he has got glucose intolerance,
Like how long
but he
ago?
should have started
How long ago was it?
about 1 year.
Oh, 1 year. Okay.
And then yeah. So he was not aware. And plus, this some of the people who come from Fiji, they are not educated, so they don't understand what they are going through. They believe what their doctors say. Actually, you should, when you're going to see the doctors, you should question your doctors. Why am I getting this medication? Why are you asking me all these questions? Well, I asked my GP, and my GP is very thorough, to be honest, very thorough.
Interesting. Because like if I think about it, the odds that I would see diabetes is you're transporting all the sugar around your blood and it's going to impact everything. It's like the pipes. So it's like if you had some corrosive chemical inside the pipes in your house, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to prove that okay, the house broke down, but it wasn't because of the diabetes. That's going to be wouldn't everything be impacted by the diabetes? Like, isn't it pointless to have trauma? Like, what case, like, would it cover cancer? But then cancer could be impacted? Okay.
Yes, cancer is covered. So basically, diabetes, I don't think that diabetes leads to cancer. I haven't come across any scenarios like that, but yeah, I'm not aware of that, so I cannot comment on that. Whether diabetes leads to cancer, but yeah, skin cancer and all those things doesn't leads from diabetes, but yeah, other forms I haven't come across. But yeah, diabetes is a very broad topic in here.
Yeah.
So people think that they have unmanaged diabetes and they want to get an online insurance cover without an advisor. I would say good luck with that. You can go ahead and everything's like, oh, it's cheap, it looks okay. But when you go to claim time, you'll get nothing. You'll get a zero in your hand because the money you have invested was waste of your time.
Unless they get cancer, then it was fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in some unless they get cancer, which is really highly unlikely
Well, it's
because I
interesting.
haven't
It's
come
like
across.
if you get it underwritten with an advisor, like I support the getting it underwritten. That makes sense. I don't like the online thing. It's just if you exclude diabetes, if you do it
Mm-hmm.
right,
Yes.
and if online they find out you have diabetes, but you get something else, like wouldn't you still be covered for the same thing? If that makes sense. Like the one done with the advisor, you're not covered, you know, because you're not covered for diabetes, and the online one, you're not covered for diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you both get cancer in both those instances, you get paid, wouldn't you?
Well, there's another cover you can go get is cancer upgrade or cancer cover
Yeah.
instead of trauma. Getting trauma cover, you can get a cancer cover. That's a separate policy that you can get with your life cover, and that can actually. But in your life cover, there is a bit of cancer cover as well because cancer is stage 4.
Yeah, interesting. Is there any exclusions with life insurance, or does it matter? You just if you die, you die.
You die, and if you're terminally ill, and if a doctor, a certified physician says that you are only to live for 12 months, you get your money.
Yeah, I've heard someone get it and then actually live. As I say,
Actually, I had that as well.
what was your
I had
story?
I had that. Sorry.
What? Yeah, what happened?
Actually, this lady, she was from Fiji and she was diagnosed with, I think, stage 3 or stage 4 cancer. And the GP said that she's going to live only for 12 months. They paid her and she's still living.
Yes, insane. Good. Well, just on the, you mentioned how like Fijians coming to New Zealand and not asking questions or preconceived notions maybe around finance. Like, what would be some
Yes.
useful things to make sure people coming here are more prepared?
So, people coming here, I think getting insured is very important in this country. I would say Fiji people think, oh, they've got their own land, they've got legacies down there, right? They've got everything down there. In here, it's a bit of struggle. Being a migrant in New Zealand, I have been through a lot of struggles, and not getting insurance was the biggest thing for me. Was the biggest lesson for me. And then I got insured. I have got a health policy because I can't get trauma, so I'm on NIB Easy Living. So tomorrow, if I get sick and I'm in a very in a position where my finances are really getting tightened up, I've got a special condition financial support in that as well with the Easy Health. So, which is really good. I would advise here people, when you're coming to New Zealand and you've got about 3 years plus visas, please get yourself insured because you don't know what's next in your life. I've seen people. I've seen a person who died who came from Fiji. A big container, the cargo containers.
Mm.
During the tornado, and you must have heard news that a person has been hit by a container and he died instantly. He left his family nothing. There wasn't any insurance or anything, so people had to give a little thing and get money for the family to support his funeral and stuff. So when you're coming to New Zealand as a migrant, my only advice is get in touch with the advisor. So I'm here to help you. Ananya Narayan from Kiwiana Financial Services. And I will
Plug.
include my other company, Hello Advisors, Shakila and Avinash. So if you can reach three of us, any of us, and
What can you
get
get?
your insurance sorted.
What can you get as a visa? Like, so you come here on a visa. Can you get everything, or
Mm-hmm.
can you only get certain things?
So on a work visa, there is a territorial exclusion. So once you get your residence, so if you are on work visa, right, you will get insured, but there will be territorial exclusion. So when you go out of the country, right, for traveling, you are not covered that time
Okay. So you covered in New Zealand.
because it's a
What about?
right. You are on a temporary.
Yeah, I get that. What
Sorry,
can you get? Like, can you get health and life and income and mortgage protection?
everything as far as your visa is 2 and more years. But if you are under a partnership visa, you can get everything.
Interesting, random. And okay, what were you surprised about when you came here from Fiji and like trying to fit in culturally and feeling excluded or just trying to earn respect or like
To be honest.
authority or whatever? What was it like?
To be honest, when I came to New Zealand, that time that was about 12 years back now, I'm talking about. I was a bit overwhelmed. I was welcomed. I don't know how people are feeling now. I know things have changed. It's been a long time now. That time the immigration laws were really good, not tight. So I started living with my husband. Lost my work visa same time. I got it. I started working, and as I mentioned, I started as a stepping stone in McDonald's for 9 months. I was very much welcomed. I had happy people. I had a happy group of team where I worked. My manager was really nice. My both managers were very nice. Then I started with Jeglal Immigration Lawyers, where I was welcomed, and it's an Fiji Indian firm. Mr. Lal is from Fiji, very down to earth person. I have achieved a lot, learned a lot from him. After that, I joined Fortune Manning Lawyers, which was a multicultural firm, and there were a couple of Fiji Indians, including me, a couple of New Zealanders, couple of people who were from outside different countries. A very welcoming environment. I really liked it. So I never felt that I was left alone. I enjoyed working with people whom I have worked so far. And then I joined, after that, I became an advisor serving the community. Until date, I'm serving our community as an insurance advisor. And as well as then I joined Auckland District Court. I never thought I'll work in the court. I don't know. I was always scared when I was working outside the court. I was scared of what's going on in here. But when I walked in the court, I never felt scared. I have walked beside the judges. I have done so many judges swearing in ceremonies. I have actually been in the court, made decisions as a registrar for Profile 1 and 2 cases. Yes, so that was me. I loved my job in Auckland, DC. So far, my favorite place to work in my entire life in New Zealand was Auckland District Court
Ah.
under my manager.
So
Yes.
what is it like? What were you putting people in prison for? Nah. What was happening? What was the
I didn't put any people.
Okay, good. But like, yeah, what were you doing there? Like, what kind of court proceedings?
So mostly disputes one and tenancy ones. So when there's a tenancy disputes and there's a dispute tribunal, dispute tribunal takes cases for almost, if you have a case and you need money back from someone up to, I think, $20,000. And then otherwise it will go to civil court. So disputes court is a court where you can file a claim for up to $20,000. So I used to be part of. I have been a case manager in disputes court. I've been a registrar for tenancy tribunal. So I used to sit with these tenancy adjudicators in the court and hear them, like run the court with them, so they don't harass the judge.
Interesting. So,
So basically,
what are the most common claims? Like, who has the biggest money problems usually? Is it tenants?
uh, both, I think, both the tenants take the landlords to court, landlords take the tenants to court on the grounds if they don't leave the property not cleaned, torn, and all those things. And when the bond is not retained, then the tenant wants to take the landlord to court, and then the landlord finds out, oh, this is the reason why the bond wasn't retained, because you have made my property run down, you have done all these things, the carpets are dirty, you left my house dirty, you have torn one of the walls are damaged, and all those things. So yeah, so all those things, it was a mixture of.
Is it any like, is it just tenants or is there other people, like neighbors at war or whatever? Like, what are the most common people that want to go to those things? Do you see the same people over and over again and they're just like real anal and you realize that they're not a nice person and they keep getting in disputes?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't the same person. So basically, once nowadays you can see that all the landlord dealings are done by the real estate agents, right? So mostly the agents will come on behalf of the landlords. Sometimes we used to see these kainga ora people coming a lot, because they are giving the houses for rent to people who are homeless and who are on benefits and stuff. So kainga ora used to come a lot, but yeah, one representative would come for different people. Either they are not paying the rent on time, either they have just damaged the property or something. So yeah, for different people. But yes, Kangaura used to come a lot in the court, in the tenancy court.
What would you like? Let's say you want to win a case. Let's say someone owes you $15,000. How do you get
Mm-hmm.
prepared? How do you make sure that you're going to win? What's going to help you?
So you need to get all the pictures. You need to get every communication that you have done with the tenants and you have been unsuccessful. So make sure your communications are all annexed, all part of it. You've got pictures and you've got communication and emails, text messages, and all those things. They are there in support of your application. Then make sure you come prepared and know what you are talking. So you are basically not wasting the time of the court.
Have you ever seen like personality impact decision? Where like it's not just evidence, it's more like the frustration makes maybe the verdict a little harsher than it needs to be. What have you seen?
So there was this hearing that I was sitting in with one of the tenancy educators, and actually it was one that really made me frustrated. So these tenants brought their landlord to the court just because the landlord has put cameras on the property to see what's going on, because these people came from, I think, Sri Lanka, and their husband and wife, they both took the landlord to the court, but the landlord won the case. And while actually fighting and stuff, the tenant did not have evidence. The landlord had all the evidence. When he came, he was really prepared. And while going through their case, they started even swearing at the tenancy educator, and I had to like get up and tell them to get out. They were really verbally abusing. Yeah, they were really verbally because they did not have any written evidence. They did not have any photographs or anything. The landlord had just put the cameras on the property for the safety reasons, but this tenant was alleging that the landlord has put the camera to watch his wife when he's away.
Why? Yeah, why putting cameras for safety? Like the outside, eh? I'm guessing
Yes,
by the pool.
even I've got cameras.
Jeez.
There wasn't any pool.
So,
It was at the door.
so the verdict. So just because they're really grumpy, do you think the verdict, like they added an extra $5,000 on it or whatever? Does that ever happen? Like where the judge can award them more money if they don't like the person?
No, no, they can't award more money. So it is basically going to be the original applications, but the impact of the decision will be on the tenant because the tenant was very grumpy, and it actually went into our principal. It actually went in front of our principal educator because this was a tenancy educator. So the tenancy educators also have principal educators who make the decisions. So it went in front of the principal educator, and she made a decision after weighing the pros and cons, and the decision went against the tenants because the tenants actually didn't have any evidence to support any allegations, right? Firstly. Secondly, the landlord had all the evidence and the reasons why he put the camera, right? Because what he experienced from his previous tenants and what was going on in the house. And then swearing at a judge, at a tenancy educator was not, it's a big no. It's a big no. And then you are yelling and then you talking on top of the tenancy educator and you're not like making him or her speak, right? And then when a registrar says you to get out of the court, you are just blaming the registrar, and then you are just trying to like come in front and be aggressive on the registrar, which was me. So I had to actually press the buzzer and get the securities in to get them out.
Oh, so you guys don't have security in there. So you're all
No,
in there. So if it gets like serious and heated. So they're in your
yes.
face.
Only high profile cases have security in the court, and only criminal and family. Tenancy and disputes one when it's very high risk case, then the securities come in. Otherwise, the securities stay outside, or we can actually push a buzzer to get them in.
And who wins more often, the tenant or the landlord? I feel like it'd be more favorable to the tenant.
Yes, most of the time. Most of the time, it is the tenants.
That's weird, eh? Like you
It
imagine
is.
someone just like watching you on their camera and like, they do a highlights reel at their house. So like they're sitting at home, the landlord's watching your wife. They're
It
doing the
wasn't that
gardening.
thing. I think this.
Like it's
No,
weird.
I
Like
think.
would you want to move in a house where the landlord's looking at the cameras every day? Not really.
Well, to be honest, I'm living here, and we have put cameras just because my daughter stays home after school, right? And my landlord doesn't have anything to do with it.
No, but if it was the
We
landlord
have
though,
told.
some creep. So he's a little creepy. He's
Yeah,
made the odd comment, and then he every day he just sits at home watching you and makes like a highlight reel. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
That'd be horrible.
yeah. That will be horrible. Yeah, but I think that's against the law. You can't do that. Yes.
Yeah. Well, they were obviously looking at them, wouldn't they? Because that's how they felt safe.
Yeah. Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, would you like? Let's say you got to move into a house, and the guy's, well, like, was it a guy or a girl? The landlord, or you can't say.
The landlord was a guy. The landlord was a guy
A
actually.
single guy that's old and unattractive.
He was married.
He was
He
married.
was married, and he had. Yeah.
Yeah, but how
But I think
fulfilled?
this blame came.
Sexless marriage for 2
The
years.
wife was.
Sorry, you go. Was the wife there, the Sri Lankan, or just the husband?
Sorry.
The guy that was screaming, did he bring his wife with him?
Yes, yes. The wife and the husband both came. The husband was screaming. The wife was like keeping shut. So all this time.
Do you think she could have won
So
like
that
a beauty pageant or something?
no,
Okay.
no,
Okay,
no, no.
which it's just weird. Like I like don't film me. Like, and then what if you had a conversation? Let's say you're just having a chat and it was a politically incorrect conversation, and then they record it and then they blackmail you with it. It's just not nice.
Yeah, that could have happened.
You're bending over
But
in the garden, and then they've got ass compilations at their house, and like they're nah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what?
Yes. I know what you mean.
But
Yeah.
anyways, we were doing so good until the end. That's my fault. But yeah, thank you for coming on the podcast. I've learned so much.